The arena was alive. Bright lights floated above a massive circular floor made of black stone. The stone was old, cracked by thousands of battles. Around it, millions of alien eyes watched in silence and excitement. This was the galactic honor arena, a place where pride was tested and legends were made or broken. Today, the crowd expected an easy fight. At the center of the arena stood Zarkith, the alien martial arts master. He was tall, wide, and covered in blue-black armor grown from his own skin. His 4 eyes glowed with calm confidence. He had ruled this arena for over 200 years. No challenger had ever defeated him. Not once. The aliens called him the perfect form. When Zarkith moved, he did not rush. He did not hurry. He believed time itself waited for him. Across the arena, a single human walked forward. His name was Captain Ethan Cole. He wore simple combat armor, gray, scratched and old. No glowing weapons, no sharp claws, no special powers. Just a human soldier with a calm face and steady steps. The crowd laughed. A wave of sound rolled through the arena, alien voices mocking, whispering, shouting. A human? This is a joke. They sent this thing to die? Zarkith turned his head slowly and looked at the human. His lips curled in a small smile. To him, the human looked thin, weak, soft. So Zarkith said, his voice deep and clear, carried by the arena's speakers, "This is the warrior of Earth?" More laughter. Ethan did not reply. He stood still at the edge of the arena, his hands relaxed at his sides. His eyes were focused, not on the crowd, but on Zarkith's feet, his balance, his breathing. Zarkith noticed. Interesting, he thought. Still, it did not matter. I have defeated beasts with steel bones. Zarkith continued. Warriors born for battle, champions trained since birth. He took 1 step forward. You are none of these. Ethan stepped onto the arena floor. The stone felt cold beneath his boots. He remembered training fields back on Earth. Mud, rain, blood. He remembered being told one thing again and again. Never underestimate the enemy. Never overestimate yourself. The announcer's voice echoed loudly. By ancient law, the match begins when both fighters accept. Zarkith raised 1 arm. I accept. 10 seconds. That is all this will take. The crowd cheered. Ethan slowly raised his head. I accept, he said calmly. The arena lights dimmed. A red line flashed between them. Then it vanished. Zarkith moved. He was faster than most eyes could follow. His body twisted with perfect control as he crossed the arena in a single leap. His strike was clean, sharp, and deadly, aimed at the human's chest. The crowd roared. Ethan reacted, but not fast enough. The blow hit him hard. His body flew backward and crashed onto the stone. The sound echoed like thunder. Dust rose around him. The crowd exploded with cheers. Zarkith stood tall, calm as ever. 1, he said softly. He turned his back slightly, already sure of victory. But then, he paused. The dust moved. A hand pressed against the stone. Ethan coughed once and pushed himself up to 1 knee. Pain burned through his chest, but his face showed no fear. His eyes were sharp, awake. The crowd grew quieter. Zarkith slowly turned around. All 4 of his eyes narrowed. You still stand? He asked, surprised. Ethan did not answer. He placed 1 foot forward and rose to his feet. His armor was cracked. His breathing was heavy. But he stood. Inside his mind, Ethan measured everything. The alien's speed, his reach, his timing. He was already learning. Zarkith laughed, but this time it sounded forced. Good. Then I will teach you what real combat looks like. He attacked again. This time, faster, stronger. Ethan raised his arms just in time. The impact pushed him back several steps. Pain shot through his arms. He felt bones strain, but he did not fall. The crowd was silent now. Zr. Keth frowned. The human was still standing. Ethan lowered his arms slowly. His chest rose and fell. Sweat ran down his face. He looked small compared to the alien master, but there was something different now. Something dangerous. For the first time in 200 years, Zarkith felt it. Uncertainty. The human soldier shifted his stance, simple, balanced, ready. Zarkith clenched his fists. This is impossible, he muttered. The lights above flickered slightly as both fighters faced each other again. The crowd leaned forward. The real fight was only beginning. The silence inside the arena felt heavy. Moments ago, the crowd had laughed. Now millions of alien eyes watched without a sound. Zarkith stood tall in the center of the arena, his fists slowly tightening. The human was still standing. That alone was wrong. Zarkith had seen warriors break from fear after one strike. Bones shattered, spirits crushed. But this human, this Captain Ethan Cole, stood again, breathing hard but refusing to fall. Zarkith straightened his posture. He lifted his chin and spoke loudly, his voice filled with pride. "You surprise me, human," he said. "But surprise is not strength." Some aliens laughed again, trying to recover their confidence. Ethan said nothing. He adjusted his stance slightly. His feet moved just a little wider. His shoulders relaxed. His eyes stayed locked on Zarkith's core, not his face. Ethan ignored the pain screaming inside his body. Pain was familiar. He had trained with pain. He had fought through worse. Zarkith stepped forward slowly. "This arena," Zarkith said, spreading his arms, "is built on perfection. My art is perfect. Every move has been tested for centuries." He raised one clawed hand and formed a sharp stance. "You humans fight with chaos, with emotion." Ethan shifted his weight. Zarkith smiled. "That is why you will lose." He attacked again. This time, he did not rush. His movements were smooth, almost beautiful. Each step followed a perfect pattern. His strikes flowed like water, one after another, forcing Ethan backward. Ethan blocked, dodged, slipped, aside. Barely. A sharp kick struck his side. Ethan grunted and slid across the stone floor. He rolled, stopped, and pushed himself back up. His vision blurred for a moment, but he forced it clear. The crowd began to cheer again. "Yes! End it! Show the human his place." Zarkith followed calmly. "You see," he said, "your body cannot keep up." He raised his arm for another strike, but hesitated. Ethan was smiling, just slightly. Zarkith's eyes narrowed. "Why do you smile?" Ethan took a slow breath. "Because now I see you." The words meant nothing to the crowd, but Zarkith felt a strange chill. Before he could respond, Ethan moved, not fast. Smart. He stepped inside Zarkith's reach, something no fighter had ever dared to do. Zarkith struck down, but Ethan twisted his body, letting the blow pass just inches away. At the same time, Ethan's fist slammed into Zarkith's side. The hit was simple, but it hurt. Zarkith staggered one step back. The arena gasped. Zarkith looked down at his armor. A small crack had formed. Impossible. No one had ever damaged him like that. Anger burned behind his eyes. "Lucky strike," he snapped. "Nothing more." He attacked again, harder this time. The fight changed. Zarkith's movements became faster, sharper, more aggressive. He stopped showing off. He wanted the human broken. He wanted his pride restored. Ethan was pushed back again and again. His arms trembled. His breathing grew heavy. But something else happened too. He learned. Each strike showed him a pattern. Each kick revealed timing. Zarkith fought by rules, by forms, by pride. Ethan fought by survival. Zarkith leapt high, twisting in the air for a powerful downward strike. The crowd shouted in excitement, but Ethan did not block. He stepped aside. Zarkith landed hard, cracking the stone beneath his feet. For a brief moment, just a moment, his balance shifted. Ethan struck. His elbow slammed into Zarkith's chest. The alien master stumbled backward, shocked. Ethan followed with a knee, then stepped away before Zarkith could respond. The crowd went silent again. Zarkith breathed heavily now. His perfect calm was gone. His eyes burned with anger and confusion. "You fight without honor, Zarkith," growled. Ethan wiped blood from his lip. "I fight to live." Those simple words echoed through the arena. Zarkith clenched his fists. He could feel it now. This human was dangerous not because of strength, but because he adapted. He changed. He refused to break. Zarkith straightened his body and lowered his stance. "Enough," he said quietly. "You have earned my full attention." The lights above the arena shifted color, reacting to his energy. The crowd felt it too. Something had changed. Zarkith's muscles tightened as power flowed through him. Ancient symbols on his armor began to glow faintly. Ethan watched carefully. His body screamed for rest, but his mind stayed sharp. He knew this was not over, not even close. Zarkith raised his hands slowly, forming a stance forbidden to most of his kind. "You should have fallen," Zarkith said coldly. "Now you will witness true mastery." The crowd leaned forward in fear and excitement. Ethan tightened his fists. Whatever came next would decide everything. The arena felt different now. The air was heavier, thick with power and fear. The glowing symbols on Zarkith's armor pulsed slowly, like a living heartbeat. Ancient energy moved through his body. This was no longer a match meant for the crowd. This was serious. Zarkith stood still, his stance low and wide. Every muscle in his body was tense, ready to strike. His four eyes watched Ethan closely, searching for weakness. "This form," Zarkith said, his voice calm but cold, "is not shown to outsiders. You should feel honored." The crowd whispered nervously. Even they knew this was dangerous. Ethan said nothing. His chest burned with every breath. His arms felt heavy. His ribs screamed in pain, but his eyes stayed sharp. He watched the alien's shoulders, his hips, his feet. Power changes balance, Ethan thought. Power creates mistakes. Zarkith moved. He vanished. In a blink, he was behind Ethan. A crushing blow slammed into Ethan's back. He flew forward and rolled across the stone floor. The impact stole the air from his lungs. For a second, everything went dark. The crowd gasped. Zarkith did not wait. He attacked again, faster than before. His strikes came from all sides, high, low, left, right. The arena floor cracked under his feet. Ethan barely survived. He rolled. He ducked. He blocked when he could. Each hit sent pain through his body. His armor cracked further. Blood dripped onto the black stone. "You cannot keep up," Zarkith said as he struck. "Your body is failing." Ethan stumbled, nearly falling. But he did not stop watching. Between the pain, he noticed something. Zarkith's power made his movements stronger, but wider, slower to recover. His attacks left small openings. Tiny mistakes. Zarkith rushed forward for a final crushing strike. Ethan stepped back then. Forward, he moved into the attack. Zarkith's eyes widened. Ethan slipped under the alien's arm and struck the joint behind Zarkith's knee. It was not a strong hit, but it was precise. Zarkith staggered. The crowd shouted in shock. Ethan followed with two quick strikes to the ribs and stepped away. He breathed hard, but his eyes stayed focused. Zarkith growled in anger. "You adapt too quickly." Ethan wiped sweat from his face. "Humans do that." Zarkith attacked again, furious now. His form was still powerful, but his calm was gone. He pushed harder, trying to overwhelm the human. Ethan gave ground. Step by step, not because he was weak, because he was thinking. He remembered training simulations, alien enemies, unpredictable forms. His instructors had taught him one rule: If you cannot match strength, change the fight. Ethan kicked a loose piece of broken stone into the air. Zarketh's eyes followed it for a split second. That was enough. Ethan dropped low and swept Zarketh's leg. The alien master fell hard, slamming into the floor. The impact echoed across the arena. Silence. No one had ever knocked Zarketh down. Zarketh pushed himself up slowly. His breathing was heavy now. His armor was cracked in several places. His eyes burned with something new. Fear. You disgrace. This arena, Zarketh hissed. Ethan shook his head. You built it for winning. I fight to survive. Zarketh roared and charged again. This time, Ethan did not retreat. The two collided in the center of the arena. Fists and claws met. Strength against endurance. Tradition against adaptation. Ethan took hits. Hard ones. But every time Zarketh struck, Ethan countered. Not perfectly but effectively. The crowd watched in stunned silence. Zarketh tried to use a spinning strike, one of his signature moves. Ethan saw it coming. He stepped inside the spin and drove his shoulder into Zarketh's chest. The alien master flew backward. He crashed near the edge of the arena. Gasps filled the stands. Zarketh stood up slowly, shaking. His perfect form was gone. His breathing was rough. His movements less controlled. You are not strong, Zarketh said, trying to convince himself. You are not fast. Ethan stood straight, bloodied but unbroken. No, he agreed. But I learn. For the first time, Zarketh hesitated. He looked at the human soldier not as prey, but as a threat. The glowing symbols on his armor flared brightly. If adaptation is your strength, Zarketh said quietly, then I will end this before you adapt again. He spread his arms wide. The arena lights dimmed out the ground. Trembled. Ethan tightened his fists. Whatever Zarketh was about to do, it would be worse than before. Much worse. The arena shook. Not from noise, but from power. Zarketh stood in the center, surrounded by a faint blue glow. The ancient energy flowing through his body made the air feel thick and heavy. Cracks spread across the stone floor beneath his feet. This was no longer just a fight of skill. It was a test of limits. Ethan Cole stood opposite him, bloodied and breathing hard. His armor was torn in places. His arms felt heavy. His legs burned. Every instinct told him he was reaching his breaking point, but he did not move back. The crowd watched in complete silence. Zarketh took a slow step forward. This ends now, human, he said. You have gone further than your kind ever should. Ethan lowered his stance slightly. His hands shook, but he steadied them. Then finish it, he said. Zarketh roared. He charged like a living weapon. The distance between them vanished in a blink. Zarketh's fist slammed into Ethan's guard with crushing force. The impact sent shockwaves through Ethan's arms and into his chest. He was thrown backward, sliding across the stone. Pain exploded through his body. Ethan tried to stand, but his legs gave out. He dropped to one knee, gasping for air. The crowd erupted. That's it. He's done. End this. Zarketh walked toward him slowly, each step heavy and confident. Your endurance is impressive, he said, but endurance breaks. He raised his arm for the final strike. Ethan's vision blurred. The sounds of the arena faded. For a brief moment, he saw flashes of Earth training grounds, teammates, long nights under alien skies. He clenched his fist. Not yet. Zarketh struck. Ethan rolled at the last second. The blow missed his head by inches and smashed into the floor, shattering stone. Dust and debris filled the air. Ethan crawled away and forced himself up, staggering. Zar single quotes Ket turned sharply, anger flashing across his face. Stay down. He attacked again. A kick caught Ethan in the ribs. Ethan cried out and crashed into the arena wall. The impact knocked the breath from his lungs. He slid down slowly, barely able to move. The crowd cheered louder. Zar stepped Closer, look at you, he said coldly. Broken, bleeding, still pretending to stand. Ethan pushed himself off the wall. His legs trembled, but he stood. Blood dripped from his lip. His eyes burned with determination. I'm still here, he said quietly. Zarkith snarled and rushed forward. This time, Ethan did not try to run. He met the charge. Their bodies collided with a loud crack. Ethan's shoulder slammed into Zarkith's chest. The impact hurt both of them. Ethan was thrown back again, but Zarkith stumbled too. The crowd gasped. Zarkith looked down, surprised. His breathing was heavy now. The glowing symbols on his armor flickered. You should be unconscious, Zarkith muttered. Ethan wiped blood from his face. Humans don't shut down when things get hard. Zarkith attacked again, but his movements were slower now. The ancient power burned through his body, draining him. His strikes were strong but less precise. Ethan noticed. He began to move differently. Not faster but smarter. He stayed close. He avoided big hits. He struck at joints, at balance points. At moments when Zarkith overextended, a punch to the side. A knee to the thigh. A shove that broke balance. Zarkith roared in frustration. Stop moving. Ethan stepped aside as another heavy strike missed him. Zarkith's fist slammed into the arena wall, cracking it deeply. Ethan struck Zarkith. Exposed side. The alien master staggered. The crowd was completely silent now. Zarkith stood shaking, breathing hard. His perfect form was gone. His pride was crumbling. Pain burned through his body. How are you still fighting? He demanded. Ethan straightened slowly. His body screamed in pain. His vision blurred again, but he forced himself to focus. Because, he said simply, this is where humans are strongest. Zarkith roared and gathered all his remaining power. The blue glow around him flared brighter than ever. The ground beneath them cracked deeper. This ends now. Zarkith shouted. He launched himself forward with everything he had. Ethan braced himself. This was it. Everything would be decided in the next moment. The charge shook the arena. Zia crest forward like a living storm, pouring every drop of his remaining power into one final attack. The blue light around his body flared wildly, cracking the stone beneath his feet. The crowd held its breath. This was meant to end the fight. Ethan Cole stood his ground. His body screamed in pain. His legs felt weak. His arms were numb. But his eyes stayed locked on Zarkith. He had seen this before in battles where the enemy believed one last strike would decide everything. Overcommitment, Ethan thought. Zarkith leapt high, raising both arms for a crushing blow powerful enough to shatter bone and stone alike. Ethan waited. At the last second, he moved. He stepped to the side and dropped low. Zarkith's strike missed him by inches and slammed into the arena floor with a thunderous crash. Stone exploded. Dust filled the air. Zarkith landed hard. Too hard. For a brief moment, his body was out of balance. Ethan acted instantly. He drove his shoulder into Zarkith's side. The impact sent both of them sliding across the floor. Ethan rolled and forced himself up. Zarkith stumbled, his breathing rough and uneven. The crowd gasped. Zia rage burning in his eyes. You still refuse to fall. Ethan wiped blood from his chin. You keep expecting me to. Zarkith attacked again, but his movements were slower now. The ancient power inside him was burning out. His strikes were strong, but wild. Ethan stayed close. He avoided the full force of the blows and struck in return short, sharp hits meant to damage balance, not armor. A punch to the ribs, a knee to the thigh. A shove that forced Zarkith back. Each hit added up. Zia Reketh growled in pain and frustration. You are nothing but a stubborn animal. Ethan stepped inside another wide strike and slammed his elbow into Zarkith's chest. Crack. The sound echoed across the arena. Zarkith staggered backward, clutching his chest. His armor was fractured deeply now. The blue glow flickered weakly. The crowd was silent. No cheers. No laughter, only shock. Zarkith looked down at himself, disbelief in his eyes. For the first time in his long life, he felt real fear. "I was supposed to win," he whispered. Ethan straightened slowly. Every movement hurt, but he stayed on his feet. "That's the mistake," he said. "You thought it was decided before it started." Zarkith roared and rushed forward again, but his legs failed him. He stumbled and dropped to one knee. Breathing hard, gasps filled the arena. The undefeated master was kneeling. Zarkith forced himself back up, shaking. "I will not lose to a human," he said, his voice breaking. He gathered what little power he had left and attacked once more. Ethan met him head on. They exchanged blows in the center of the arena, fist against claw, strength against endurance. Zarkith landed heavy hits, but Ethan absorbed them and stayed standing. Then Ethan saw it. Kef's guard dropped for a split second. Ethan struck. His fist hit Zarkith's jaw with everything he had left. The impact snapped Zarkith's head to the side. The alien master crashed to the ground, sliding across the stone floor. The arena froze. Zarkith did not move. Ethan stood over him, chest heaving, fists clenched. The crowd stared in disbelief. Slowly Zarkith moved. He tried to stand, but failed. He remained on one knee, head lowered. Silence filled the arena. Zarkith looked up at Ethan, his eyes no longer proud, no longer angry, only defeated. "I underestimated you," he said quietly. Ethan said nothing. He raised his fist, ready to finish the fight. The crowd leaned forward, waiting. Would the human strike? Would he end the legend? The answer would change everything. The arena was silent. Not the silence of fear, but the silence of waiting. Zarkith knelt on the cracked stone floor, his massive body shaking as he struggled to breathe. The blue glow around him had faded almost completely. His armor was broken. His pride lay shattered beside it. Ethan Cole stood before him. His fist was raised. Every eye in the arena was locked on that moment. For centuries, this was how fights ended here. The winner struck. The loser fell. Legends died to prove dominance. The crowd expected blood. Zarkith closed his eyes. "Do it," he said quietly. "End this." Ethan's arm trembled, not from fear, from exhaustion. His body begged him to stop. Every bone ached. His vision swam. He could barely feel his fingers. But he remained standing through pure will. He looked at Zarkith, not as an enemy, but as a broken warrior. Ethan slowly lowered his fist. Wave of shock passed through the arena. What is he doing? Why hasn't he finished it? "Strike him." Ethan stepped back. "I won," he said simply. Zarkith opened his eyes slowly. Confusion filled them. "This is not how it ends." "It is for us," Ethan replied. He turned away. The crowd erupted, not with cheers, but with chaos. Voices clashed. Some shouted in anger, others in disbelief. No one had ever seen this before. Zarkith stared at Ethan's back. His chest tightened, not with pain, but with something worse. Understanding. "You spared me," Zarkith said slowly. "Why?" Ethan stopped and looked back over his shoulder. "Because killing you proves nothing." Those words hit harder than any punch. Zarkith bowed his head. The announcer's voice trembled as it echoed across the arena. "By ancient law, the victor is the human." The words felt unreal. The crowd sat frozen. Ethan walked toward the edge of the arena, every step heavy. His legs threatened to collapse, but he kept moving. He did not raise his arms. He did not celebrate. Behind him, Zarkith pushed himself up slowly, with great effort. He stood. The crowd gasped. Zarkith turned toward Ethan and did something no one expected. He knelt. Not in defeat. In respect. A deep murmur spread through the stands. The master kneels to a human. Zarkith lowered his head. You fought without perfect form, he said. Without tradition. Without pride. He looked up, his voice steady. And yet, you won. Ethan turned fully now, surprised. You taught me something, Zarkith continued. Strength alone is not mastery. Adaptation is. Ethan nodded once. Learn that and you'll never lose again. Zarkith placed one hand over his chest, a gesture of honor among his people. Human soldier. Your kind is dangerous. Ethan gave a tired smile. We've been told. Medical drones finally entered the arena, hovering cautiously. They scanned Ethan's injuries, but he waved them off. I can walk, he said as he left the arena floor. The crowd slowly began to rise not to cheer, to watch the human walk through the exit tunnel alone. No music followed him. No praise filled the air, but something had changed. Across the galaxy, viewers replayed the moment again and again. Not the final punch. The moment Ethan didn't strike in the arena, Zarkith remained kneeling for a long time after the human had gone. For the first time in his long life, he understood the truth. Humans did not need to dominate. They only needed to endure. And that terrified the galaxy. The story was not over, but the legend had already begun. The arena slowly emptied. Aliens left their seats in silence, their minds heavy with thoughts they had never considered before. For centuries, the Galactic Honor Arena had been a place of dominance. Power decided worth. Strength decided truth. That belief had cracked at the center of the arena. Zarkith still knelt on the broken stone. The medical drones hovered nearby, waiting, unsure if they were allowed to approach him. His body ached, but the pain inside his mind was far greater. He had lost, not just the fight, his certainty. Across the arena halls, Ethan Cole walked alone. His steps were slow. Each one sent pain through his body. Blood stained his armor. His vision blurred at times, but he kept moving. He did not look back. Outside the arena, the galaxy reacted. News streams flooded communication networks. Clips of the fight spread faster than any war report. Commentators replayed the moment again and again. Not the strikes, not the power, but the ending. The human who refused to kill. On distant worlds, alien warriors watched in silence. They studied the human's movements, his mistakes, his recovery, his refusal to surrender. Military councils paused ongoing plans. Humans adapt too fast, one commander said. They do not break when they should, another replied. Back in the arena, Zarkith finally stood. His movements were slow, careful. The undefeated master felt old for the first time. He looked at the cracked floor, remembering every moment of the fight. He had been stronger, faster, more skilled, and yet he had failed. A young alien warrior approached carefully and bowed. Master, what happened? Zarkith did not answer at first. He learned, Zarkith said finally, while I repeated. The warrior looked confused. Zarkith turned away. Never face humans expecting the same fight twice. Those words spread quickly. On Earth, Ethan's return was quiet. There were no parades. No grand speeches. Just a short report and a long medical stay. Doctors asked how he survived. Ethan gave the same answer every time. I kept going. Weeks later, alone in a training room, Ethan practiced slow movements. His body healed, but the fight stayed with him. He knew the galaxy had changed, not because he won, but because he showed restraint. Back among the stars, Zarkith made a decision that shocked his people. He reopened the arena. Not for dominance, for learning. Human combat recordings were requested, studied, not to copy but to understand. Zarkith trained again. Slower this time. Smarter. The master had become a student. Whispers spread through the galaxy. Humans were no longer seen as weak. They were unpredictable, and that made them dangerous. Months later, a message reached Ethan. It contained only a short line. If we meet again, it will not be as master and prey. Ethan read it once, then deleted it. He returned to training, because that was the human way. The galaxy had learned a lesson. It would never forget. Humans do not fight for pride. They do. Not fight for dominance. They fight because they refuse to stop. And sometimes, they walk away after winning.